High snap, put down. Joseph, come on! It is gone! No, he missed it. Good. Are you kidding me? He missed it right.
He missed it right.
Oh, my heavens.
Ooh, welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. Come on! I am Perna! No! Are you kidding me? That'd be my intro if it were called by the Vikings radio announcers. This is the best and worst of NFL Week 2. And I'm just gonna slap you in the face with the biggest worst right now. Taunting. Taunting penalties are the worst. Apparently, you can't even look in another player's direction after doing something good. If I were an NFL player, I'd get my doctor to diagnose me with Tourette's to avoid flags. That flex in front of another player, ref, it's a medical condition. It's involuntary. You can't flag me. There were at least 6 taunting penalties called on Sunday, and while every football fan hated it, somewhere Giants owner John Mara was laughing while he wiped his ass with $100 bills thinking about how little fun players are allowed to have.
We get kind of sick and tired of the taunting that does go on from time to time on the field.
Hey NFL, this is not Discovery Plus. We didn't tune in to watch zebras fuck over birds and buffaloes. Taunting was an issue, as were quarterback injuries. Most tragically, Zach Wilson, who suffered a severe injury to his pride, and his soul never returned. Best and worst. That's Good Sports. Week 2. You want a worst in your personal life? Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Now, there are 2 ways you can support That's Good Sports. One, by buying my delicious coffee, Benchwarmer Brew at benchwarmerbrew.com. Coffee that I guarantee will never taunt you. Taunting. Or Patreon, patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. I have big dick Patreon shoutouts, and I should be scheduling our Patreon Zoom meeting for this week. Shoutouts, Christopher Barrett, Corey Rudisile, Robert Dominguez, Adam M. upping to 10, Brandon Westbrook, Nessie, Orange Crush, Ethan Perales, Wesley Novak, Isaac Pasillas, Sony Keo, and Big Poopy Wiener. Yeah, we keep it classy on Patreon. Boop! Best and worst, let's do it. Bills, Dolphins. Worst? Tua went down with a rib injury, forcing Jacoby Brissett into the game. You'd think that Brissett is one of the better backups in the league, but he was unable to score a single point against a very tough Bills defense. Bills defense, keep an eye on them. Worst, Jalen Waddle fumbled twice on the same punt return. The Alabama receiver had a nice debut, but followed it up with quite the special teams boner. Best, Josh Allen after a tough week 1. Well, he didn't exactly play a perfect game here, but the Bills still came away with the 35-point win on the road, which tells me the Bills are gonna be just fine. Allen will turn it on, and the rest of the AFC East might be in deep shit. 49ers Eagles, worst? We had a Jalen touchdown called back because Rieger stepped out of bounds before he touched the ball, negating what would have been a massive play for the Eagles. Sometimes you don't even need a horrible official to take away a touchdown. Ain't that something, Chargers fans? Worst, here's another bad play. On 4th and goal, the Eagles gave the ball to Greg Ward, who threw the ball away on 4th down. Rams Colts, best. The Stafford to Kupp connection might be unstoppable. Cooper Kupp had 9 catches for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Colts. If you combine the skills of Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, and Brandon Stokely, and then tack on an Amish beard, you do get Cooper Kupp. Worst, the Colts not being able to score from 1st and goal from the 1, stuffed. 4 straight plays ending in a bad Carson Wentz sack. Carson Wentz got picked off on a fucking shovel pass inside the 10-yard line. This is the worst use of a shovel I've seen since Psycho 2. Worst, the Colts got back into this game thanks to one of the worst special teams plays I saw this week. Nick Scott Might as well change his first name to Michael as he shifted right in front of the punter a half a second before the snap.
No! God, please, no!
Wentz actually managed to sprain both of his ankles in this game. Jacob Eason entered in his place, down a score, and promptly threw an interception to Jalen Ramsey. Saints-Panthers, worst. Okay, maybe we were a little early to anoint Jameis Winston as the best quarterback in the NFL. Some people even predicted him to win MVP. Winston followed it up, going 11 of 22 with 1 rushing touchdown and 2 picks, including this one to J.C. Horn, which was just vintage Jameis. Jameis Winston, with the Saints gold on his helmet, is officially fool's gold. Best. On the other side, Sam Darnold is continuing to play good football, building up an immunity to mistakes, putting up 300 yards and a pair of touchdowns in the victory. Extra bad for Jets fans who were simultaneously seeing their new quarterback treat the Patriots like target practice. Houston-Cleveland, this is the Benchwarmer Brew game of the week. Wrong way, idiot. Some real bench-like shit happened here. Worst, Tyrod Taylor getting sent to the bench with an injury. Tyrod was playing great, throwing a touchdown to Phillip Lindsay, Mr. Colorado, and running for a touchdown. Then he got hurt. Tyrod was 10 of 11 with 2 touchdowns before he injured his hamstring. Worst, this sequence of events for the Texans. All right, they pick up 13 yards on a 3rd and 15. The Browns were called for offsides. The Texans can choose between 4th and 2 or 3rd and 10. They chose 4th and 2. And then they punted the ball away. What the fuck are you doing, David Culley? Best. Backup Davis Mills throws his first career touchdown pass, throwing a goal line screen to Brandon Cooks. Tough circumstances for Mills, but he finished 8 of 18 with 101 yards, that TD plus a pick. Now, I don't think Tyrod has another Justin Herbert waiting in the wings. So if he can get healthy, I think he remains the starter. Although I wouldn't put it past Houston to have bad team doctors. Or no doctors. Jack Easterby might actually treat all injuries with nothing other than prayer. Cincinnati versus Chicago. Worst. Andy Dalton went down with a non-contact injury, meaning Bears fans got their wish in the form of Justin Fields and his debut. Fields was just 6 of 13 for 60 yards and a pick. I'm thinking Andy Dalton could have done that. However, Fields did manage to save himself a turnover, making a nice play to recover one of his own fumbles. Andy Dalton could not have done this. Rest assured. Worst. Matt Nagy says Andy Dalton is still the starter. Worst. Joe Burrow threw 3 interceptions, including a pick 6 to Roquan Smith, where he got absolutely run over trying to make the tackle. It took a full year, but Joe Burrow finally looks like a rookie. Falcons at Bucks. Worst. The Falcons suck. Do I really need to go through this game? Tom Brady threw 5 touchdowns, which is a sign that I don't need to relive much of this atrocity. Worst. Mike Edwards had not 1, but 2 fourth quarter pick sixes to put this game away for Tampa Bay. If you're like me and you didn't know who Mike Edwards was before today, you do now. Basically, if you're named Mike E and play for the Bucks, you're gonna score a shit ton of TDs. Man, there is such a thing as scoring too much, Atlanta. Just ask my herpes doctor. Well, Vikings at Cardinals. Best? Strap in, because this was the shootout of the week, at least in the first half. Best. After they lost in overtime last week, the Vikings scored immediately when Kirk Cousins found KJ Osborne, who may have been out of bounds, for a 64-yard touchdown. Cousins had an incredible first half, throwing 3 touchdowns, 1 to Osborne, 1 to Adam Thielen, and another to Justin Jefferson. Worst, the Vikings were already struggling. Then they had to deal with this shit from the football gods. A tipped ball that goes straight to Max Williams and ends up setting up a touchdown for Kyler Murray. Best, Kyler evaded the defense, went deep, and found Rondale Moore way down the field for a 77-yard touchdown. Best, Matt Prater buried a 62-yard field goal right before halftime. I'm pretty sure this kick would have been good from 85 yards. Prater still got a leg. Worst, Kyler Murray cooled off in the second half, throwing 2 ugly interceptions, including one in the red zone and a pick 6 to Nick Vigil. Best, this fadeaway throw by Kyler Murray on 4th and 5. It's just too damn good. Worst, the Vikings finished this game by doing what they do best. Missing huge, easy field goals. Minnesota, why do you demand on torturing your fans? Fuck. Vegas at Steelers. Best. Good Lord, Najee Harris. This man, he has a family. Hey, Jonathan Abram, Charles Woodson called and he asked you to not disgrace the number 24 like that. Not even Carson Wentz and his shovel could dig you out of the ground after that stiff arm buried you. Worst. That was basically the Steelers' only highlight. And last week's best defense nearly gave up 400 passing yards to Derek Carr. Best. Henry Ruggs is starting to figure it out. He hauled in a deep 61-yard touchdown, a throw that's actually prettier than Derek Carr's eyes, beating Minkah Fitzpatrick in a play that basically iced the game for the Raiders. Pats vs. Jets. Worst. Zach Wilson had perhaps the worst performance of the week. Let's take a quick look at his final stat line. Wilson was 19 of 33 for 210 yards and most importantly, 4 interceptions. I guess we have to keep hearing about how good Bill Belichick is against rookie quarterbacks. Oh, that's real hard. At one point in this game, Wilson's stat line was 4 of 10 with 4 picks. He had as many picks as completions. No fence on earth can hide that amount of embarrassment, Wilson. Best. Damian Harris broke free for a long run, and look who showed up to help push him in the end zone. Mac Jones. Robert Kraft loved it. And that's the real Kraft mac and cheese. Cowboys at Chargers. There were a total of 20 penalties in this game. When your referees want to be on Dancing with the Stars instead of calling a football game, this is what happens. Fitting performance, since it was in LA. Asante Samuel Jr. did have his first career interception, picking off Dak Prescott in the first quarter. It was a great day for rookie corners. Samuel, Pat Surtain, and J.C. Horn all had their first career picks. Also a great day to have a dad who played in the NFL. As a proud dad myself, I can add that my daughter took her first step. Well, in following in my footsteps, she looked at the television during the Bucs game and said her very first, "Fuck you, Tom Brady." That's true. Worst. Seeing Chargers touchdowns disappear more quickly than their fans. In the second half, they had a massive TD called back. Herbert threw a pick in the red zone. They had a TD called back on the goal line for an illegal shift, which led to this throwaway ball by Herbert getting called a sack. Everyone agreed this was the worst officiated game of our lifetime. The Chargers lose to the Cowboys and are now tied with the lowly Chiefs at the bottom of the AFC West. Titans at Seahawks. Best. Julio Jones finally made a big play for the Titans, hauling in a 51-yard bomb from Ryan Tannehill. Julio had 100 yards in the first half alone. Best. Tyler Pop Drop and Lockett continues to have an incredible start, hauling in this 63-yard touchdown from Russ Wilson. Lockett had 8 receptions for 178 and a TD on Sunday. He's currently second in the NFL in receiving yards behind Deebo Samuel? Shit. Worst. Good Lord, the Tennessee secondary is abominable. Russell Wilson hits Freddie Swain, the most wide open player of the week, for a 68-yard touchdown where Swain was all alone and the only person who could have tripped him up was himself. Best. The overthrow of King Henry lasted 1 week before the revolt was smashed. King Henry squashed the peasants as he returned to his throne and had all naysayers beheaded in the streets.
Taunting.
Derrick Henry is back to being Derrick Henry again. He had a huge day, 182 rushing yards, 55 receiving yards, which was more than A.J. Brown, including Derrick Henry's 60-yard touchdown to get the Titans back in the game, and then another to tie it. Worst, Russell Wilson almost ended the game in overtime with the safety, which would have been the least climactic ending possible, but the referees missed it, and the Titans got the ball back and gave Randy Bullock a chance to win, and he nailed it. Randy Big Balls Bullock drills it as the Titans come from behind to upset the Seahawks in crazy fashion. That's the comeback game of the week, followed by the other comeback game of the week, Kansas City versus Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. Worst, the Ravens defense forgot how to tackle, giving up this touchdown to Byron Pringle. And even worse, this catch and run by Travis Kelce. The tackling is just not present. Those occurred after Lamar Jackson started this game with the pick six. Things were looking bad for the Ravens. But best, Patrick Mahomes takes his first L and throws his first pick in the month of September, channeling Jameis Winston on a throw that honestly changed this game and let Baltimore back in it. Best, Lamar Jackson hit the Chiefs with a jump pass to Hollywood Brown for a big late game score. Worst, the Chiefs were driving to take the lead at the end of the game and Clyde Edwards-Helaire coughed up the ball. Odafe punches the ball away and recovers the fumble himself. One of the worst fumbles, but one of the most clutch defensive plays you'll ever see. Odafe changed his name from Jason back to Odafe as soon as the Ravens drafted him. And unlike the Chiefs players, it wasn't because he was trying to avoid the law. Isn't that right, Turek Hill? Best, John Harbaugh with the big Fangio meet the balls call of the year. With a 1-point lead and a minute left in the game, the Ravens go for it on 4th and 1 to end it. Seeing Harbaugh ask Lamar Jackson if he wanted to go for it, that's a coach-QB relationship we can all be envious of. Hell, any relationship, really. My wife and I haven't spoken that many words to each other since football season started. Millions of people watching the NFL, yet it's the time of year I feel the most alone.
Taunting!
And that is your best and worst of NFL Week 2. I will have the Broncos Jaguars recap up this evening, so make sure you come back to watch that.